1.6 Angle pair relationships. We got some vocabulary to start today. The first one is vertical angles. Uh, and the book's definition says two angles are vertical angles if their sides form two pairs of opposite rays. So two pairs of opposite rays. Here's one pair. So this one and this one, this one and this one. They're opposite. How I like to think of it is just two lines intersecting. Okay. Um, so uh, two lines intersect. I just call them the opposite angles. Intersect the opposite angles. Okay, so vertical angles are this angle and this angle. Now remember, in geometry we can rotate pictures, we can twist them. So really another pair of vertical angles are these ones. Okay, so the green angles are also vertical angles, even though they're kind of horizontal, but if you spun the picture 90 degrees they would be. Now two linear pair are two adjacent angles that make a straight line. Two angles who are adjacent and make a straight line. Now remember, in geometry all lines are straight, so that's kind of redundant to say straight line. So for example, this angle and this angle are a linear pair. Complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees. I should say are two angles to add up to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180 degrees. So yeah, you get to use your notes on quizzes and tests, but complementary, supplementary, those are things that you just need to know, so we're going to use them so much. So try to remember, figure, if you need to make flashcards for all this vocabulary, do that so that you know these things. So that brings us to example 1. Now, we're tying geometry in with algebra, so make sure we know how to solve our algebraic equations. In this first one, we want to solve for x and y, and to find each angle measure. Okay, so we're going to need to find x first. So when I look at my picture, I gotta find the two parts that have x in them. Now, one of the things, I'm going to pause here and go back. When we talked about vertical angles, we're going to prove later on, if you notice I already used the congruent arcs, showing that these angles are congruent. Vertical angles are congruent. Okay, all vertical angles are congruent. That's a theorem we're going to prove later on, but for right now, we'll need that for solving some of these equations. Now in this one, it's this angle and this angle, vertical angles. Okay, so this is point E here, angle EED and angle DEB. They're not a vertical angles, but these two angles make a linear pair. Okay, they're a linear pair. You might not be able to do that, I apologize, but linear pair. So what do we know about a linear pair? Well, they made a straight line, right? A straight angle. What's the measure on a straight angle? A straight angle has a measure of 180 degrees. And since they're a linear pair, I know by the segment addition postulate that those two angles have to add up to 180. So I can say 3x plus 5 plus x plus 15 has to equal 180. Now in this case, when I have x's on both the same side of the equation, I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have 4 terms on the left side of the equal sign here. I'm going to combine the ones that are like. Okay, so a 3x and an x are alike, and that makes a 4x. A 5 and a 15 are like each other. 5 and a 15 make a 20, and I didn't do anything with the 180. From here I subtract 20 from both sides, and I do highly recommend that you guys still show your steps, because people start to make mistakes when it's not. Divided by 4, I'm undoing the order of operations, and I get x equals 4 goes into 16 4 times, so I get x is 40. So if x is 40, this angle here is 40 plus 15. It's a 55 degree angle. This angle would be 3 times 40, 120, plus 5, 125 degrees. 125 plus 55 is 180. Now to set up to solve for y, I have 2 options. Okay. Now option 1 would be to say this angle plus this angle equals 180. Or I'm going to do another, I'm going to solve it a different way because I think it will be faster. I'm going to use the fact that this angle and this angle are vertical angles. Okay. When I have vertical angles, I'm going to set up the equation. Now, instead of saying y plus 20 equals x plus 15, this doesn't help me much, having a y and an x. I can't solve for y, right? I'm going to have an x in it. So what I'm going to do, instead of using that x plus 15, I'm going to say, what does this angle equal? We've already found it was 55 degrees. So y plus 20 has to be 55. That means y is 35. So if y is 35, this angle is still 55 degrees, right? This angle should still be 125 because of the vertical angles, and we could check 4 times 35 minus 15. 4 times 30 is 120, so 140 minus 15 would be 125. So my vertical angles are equal, and they add up to 180. Different ways to set it up, right? If you're using a linear pair, they add to 180. If you're using vertical angles, they are equal to each other, right? Make sure you know how to set both of those up. This next problem, I don't see a picture, and I like pictures, so I'm going to be drawing a picture. So I have angle W and angle Z are complementary. Complementary means adds to 90. The measure of angle Z is 5 times the measure of angle W. So Z is the bigger angle. So I'm just going to put a Z here and a W here. Find the measure of angle W. Well, if I call angle W X, Z was 5 times bigger. So I'm going to take X and times it by 5. So now I have the equation. How am I going to solve this? I'm going to say, well, I know what complementary means. Complementary means adds to 90, right? 2 angles that add to 90. So when I add the angles up, they equal 90. So I need to add the angles 5x and x. 5x plus x, they're like terms, I combine them together, and I get 6x equals 90. Divide by 6. X equals, well, 6 goes into 9 one time, I'd be left with 30. 6 goes into 30 5 times. X is 15. Now, did they ask me to find X? No, they asked to find angle W. Angle W is 15. So you can say the measure of angle W equals 15 degrees. It's a nice way to write the answer. Here, supplement, we didn't talk about this in the front, but supplement of angle H, basically it's the angle that when you add it to the angle H is going to be 180 degrees. So given that angle G is a supplement to angle H, that means these two angles add to 180. If G is 82, find the measure of H. So I could say, so basically since they're supplementary, then I'll say 82 degrees plus the measure of angle H is going to equal 180. So when I subtract 82 from both sides, I get the measure of angle H being equal to 98 degrees. Knowing the vocabulary makes the problem easy. Gotta know what they're talking about. Here's your homework assignment for 1.6. We'll be working on that in class. Have a good night.